You know, honestly, I think you could say at this point that I wear a number of hats around here. I say that because I do own the business of the program finally. I never had that before. But the one hat that I really try to avoid rocking, and I've got a number, but the one that I try to stay away from is of the tinfoil variety. It's a shame, too, because I used to love a good conspiracy until absolutely everything became a conspiracy. And this alleged grand conspiracy against the Sanders family might be the dumbest of all the dumb conspiracies. Even the flat earthers are like, you can't be serious with this, right? I mean, sure, we believe the earth is flat, but even we don't believe that. Serious! You can't be serious about that, right? Listen, I hope good things for this family. I really do. If you had two kids of an icon in the NFL, how much better would the NFL be? Believe me, I'm not anti-fam. In fact, I'm pro-fam. Our son and our money go to Colorado. Serious? Nothing would make me happier than to see Deion have another great year because our son and our money go to Colorado. However, I will say I've been hammering this for weeks, but since the tinfoilers just keep getting louder and louder, let me say it once again. There is no conspiracy from the Browns or the NFL to sabotage the Sanders family. Why? Why would either one do that? I mean, obviously, sorry to ruin all your fun, kooks, but your little theory that you're so loud about on social media makes less than 0 sense. There has never been a conspiracy to sabotage the Sanders family, and there never will be. If anybody is sabotaging the Sanders kids, right now it is the Sanders kids. Can I repeat that? And again, I'm pulling for them. I am. I know you may not believe that. I'm telling you straight up, I am. But if anybody is sabotaging Shedeur and Shiloh, right now it's Shedeur and Shiloh. This weekend is a perfect example. Like, I've got no idea how so many people watched the preseason games this weekend and then decided, that's it. We have all the proof we need. That right there is evidence of a full-blown conspiracy. When I watched those same games and I had the exact opposite reaction. As an example, Shedeur on Saturday. I'm sorry to break the news, tinfoilers, but the guy was not good. In fact, he had a bad game. He just did. Joe Flacco was solid. Dylan DeLauro was solid as well. In fact, you might even say that Alvin Gabriel was pretty exciting. Nobody could possibly say that about Shedeur's performance, though. Now, I did, and we did. Some of you are pretty much hysterical after his first game. But I said he was sharp after that first game. But nobody could say that after yesterday. And do you know why he struggled so much? And no, it's not just because he was running with the backups. And no, they didn't put the backups in to make him look bad. That's not how that works. It's not because the offensive line was told, don't block for him. We want him to look bad so we can cut him. Some of you actually believe that. And you know you do. Some of you actually believe the line is not trying as hard for Shedeur because they want him to look bad so the team can cut him. Listen to yourselves. And no, it's not because the coaching staff was actively sabotaging him. The reason he struggled was pretty simple and pretty obvious and pretty unsurprising to anybody who has watched him play before. He just held onto the ball way, way, way too long. Period. That's not on anybody else. That's on him. And that was arguably the biggest red flag at Colorado and coming out of Colorado. And that red flag could not have shown up any brighter than it did in this game. In fact, I think one play says it all. I've never wanted to make any major declarations based on one preseason play from a rookie, ever. However, this play to me is extremely telling because it pretty much defeats this whole sabotage narrative. The only sabotage I want to hear after seeing this is self-sabotage, because that's exactly what this is.
Sanders being pressured, spins away again, keeping the play alive. The fans love it, but that's one of those plays where maybe he's got to roll out and throw it away, huh?
You think? No, that is definitely one of those plays where you have to roll out and throw it away. And the fans love it. Love what? A 24-yard sack? That's not okay. That's never okay at any level, let alone that level. And there's really nobody else to blame for that. And the worst part is that was not just a one-off. Bad plays happen. I get that. But he took 5 sacks in 11 dropbacks on Saturday, in total minus 27 net yards of offense for the game. Like, that's not just horrible. That's not pro quarterbacking. Here's another example. Here is Shedeur taking a sack from a pretty clean pocket with the tight end, Sal Cannella, open. I mean, right in front of him. I mean, right in his face. Check this out. A little shaky right there, but...
right in my face.
Another awful sack. And once again, it's only on one dude, the quarterback. Now, I'm not doing it to pile on Shedeur. I'm only making this point because so many people truly believe that the Browns have it in for the guy and that Shedeur is some kind of victim because of his last name. That he's some kind of victim because of his last name. Guys, people, tinfoilers, here's the reality. He's still on that team because of his last name. They don't have it in for him because of his last name. His last name is keeping him on that team. If he wasn't named Shedeur Sanders, and if he took 5 sacks in 11 dropbacks as a 5th-round draft pick who's number 4 on the depth chart, do you know where he'd be right now? Pretty much out on his ass. Gut. He'd be getting the Doug Collins treatment right now. Meanwhile, on the complete other end of the spectrum, here are Alvin Gabriel's highlights. Now check this out. Look at this guy. Something that should immediately jump out at you when you see these plays. What is the big difference between Alvin and Shedeur? What do you see here? Because what I see is the ball coming right out every single time, quickly. He processes, he gets the ball out on time, and he's accurate, which is probably why DeLauro was sacked 0 times, even though he had more snaps than Shedeur.
0.0.
Pretty obvious from that game why the coaches are higher on Alvin Gabriel than they are Shedeur. He just looks more ready. And the hard truth for the Shedeur tinfoilers is that Shedeur probably would be off that team if he were anybody else. Why do they need to carry 4 quarterbacks? He's actually getting preferential treatment because of his name, not the other way around. Kooks are claiming that he's being persecuted because he's Shedeur Sanders. To me, you have it all backwards. And arguably, it's even worse when it comes to Shiloh. Shiloh did get cut this weekend by the Bucs, because of course he did, and I'll tell you why. Now, they say it's not because he threw that punch. They're emphatic. That's not why we got rid of him. However, here's the bottom line. He was hanging on to one of the last roster spots and then decided to throw a punch in a preseason game. Look what's going on here. So you got a tight end blocking on him downfield and pretty emphatic about it, and then Shiloh throws that right hand. Look, I don't care if the other guy was also in the wrong. You cannot throw a punch and stay in a football game. I mean, it's like a rule, literally. You cannot throw a punch and not get ejected. So what the Sanders honks really seem to be complaining about is that there are no special rules for the Sanders fam. It's not that they're getting intentionally mistreated. People seem to be upset that they don't get their own set of rules because anybody would have gotten ejected for that. They didn't single him out. It's a rule. Throw a punch, get ejected. Todd Bowles said it himself after the game. They'll get you every single time. So anybody on the bubble trying to make a team in the last preseason game who throws a punch probably is going to get cut right after that game, like Shiloh did. That's how any other player in the league is going to get treated. That's an undrafted player trying desperately to make the team, made it to the end of the preseason, but threw a punch and got ejected. And the thing is, reportedly, the Bucs like him. Reportedly, the Bucs might even try to bring him back on the practice squad if he clears waivers. Look, I'm not saying in any way that Shiloh's a bad dude. Far from it. I'm just saying what happened to him was completely standard NFL procedure. and completely his own fault. He lost his head in a moment when he couldn't afford to. Again, now I'm not saying that's why he got cut. Maybe they cut him anyway. Maybe they release him anyway, even if he doesn't throw that punch, but that sure didn't help. Same goes for Shedeur. Far from a bad dude. Not a bad dude at all, but not being unfairly treated either. However, all of that said, I will say this. In defense of the foilers, the tinfoilers, the decision to pull Shedeur and let Snoop Huntley run that 2-minute drill at the end of the game, to me, is bizarre. That's the one thing that I can get with you tinfoilers on today, because to me that makes no sense at all. No logical sense. Why would you not let the rookie quarterback that you're going to keep run that 2-minute drill? Why would you let the vet that you're about to cut, and they did, finish that game? Isn't that just wasting valuable reps? The answer of how Kevin Stefanski came to that decision, I mean, it seems kind of simple, right? Snoop gave the offense a better chance to succeed in that 2-minute drill. They couldn't move the ball with Shedeur. He couldn't get anything going the entire game. Then Huntley comes right in, drives them right down the field for the game-winning field goal. So in that sense, the coach was right. But the coach was right and they won, but the game doesn't count. The game doesn't matter. So in theory, to me, that's a wasted opportunity to see more of Shedeur when we don't know when he's going to see the field again. I would have kept that guy out there. Let him run that 2-minute offense. We don't know when he's going to get legitimate reps again. I mean, you know what it felt like to me watching that? It felt like Stefanski had just seen enough and just benched him. Like, Stefanski was trying to send a message. Like, you don't deserve that shot at the 2-minute drill. Like, he was trying to make a point. Listen, this is what happens when you hold on to the ball too long. This is what happens when you hold on to the ball in this offense. You do not get rewarded. And I think it's pretty blatantly obvious that he prefers Gabriel. Never mind Gabriel beating out Shedeur. I wonder if Gabriel has already beaten out Tiny Hands. Dylan DeLauro just runs the plays and gets the ball out on time. Of course that's what Kevin Stefanski wants, especially in that offense, especially compared to a dude who's playing hero ball, trying to make something happen, and taking awful sacks. So, Shedeur super fans, I'm sorry to say, but no football coach wants to deal with hero ball and 24-yard sacks. And again, I'm not trying to pile on Shedeur, man. He's exciting, and he's charismatic, and he's electric, and he's the most famous fifth-round draft pick ever. I just don't think he's doing anything to help his cause, nor do I think that they're going out of their way to submarine him or torpedo him or sabotage him, despite the fact that there are a lot of people who want to say that. As far as Shedeur himself, afterwards, I don't think that he really helped himself with his reaction to getting pulled. Now, I'm not saying he should be happy about that. As a competitor, you should want to be in the game, and you should be upset if you get taken out of the game, except there's still something that, I don't know, there's something that's not quite adding up. He's still saying some things that just don't seem to make sense, like this.
Listen, that's what you asked for. You know, that's what you asked for within the game. If I could go back and do anything, I mean, it's always everything in life if you had that chance, but we don't have the luxury to travel back in time. As a kid, I want to go back and do things differently. So overall, of course, you know, you wish you can, but in the battle of the moment, in the heat of the battle, you know, you want to be that alpha, you want to be that dog, you want to be out there in that final 2-minute drive. So, you know, of course, small things, of course, frustrate, but that's what happens, you know, when you want a player to be able to change a franchise.
Here's the thing. Ignoring the word salad about going back in time, my man, why are we talking about changing the franchise? I mean, you sound almost as delusional as your fans on social media. Like, maybe we should talk about making the franchise, making the team. Now we're talking about changing the franchise. Changing the franchise. You're still number 4 on the depth chart, but you want to change the franchise. You got taken out of the game, a preseason game, with a 2-minute drill in front of you and still a chance to win that game, but you want to change the franchise. My man, is that the new version of #legendary? I guess. Is that the new version of the draft mansion? the problem is none of the hype was real. He was just a 5th-round draft pick in a draft mansion. And right now he's just a very raw QB4 with very loud fans. There is no conspiracy here. There is no sabotage. There's just a 5th-round pick who's not doing a hell of a lot to help his cause, who has to do more. Unlike DeLauro in there. Now, Shedeur's supporters will say, that's right, he had to play with backups. And DeLauro, Gabriel, got to play with first stringers. Right? Because he's higher on the depth chart, and they've got more faith in him, more confidence in him. You're welcome, Avi. Between the travel back and forth and keeping up with his job, I mean, you got to give it to Alvy. Think about this for a minute. How sharp did Alvy look? He's going back and forth. He's running this board. He's running with the ones. He's getting the ball out quickly. He's accurate. He's processing. He's making good decisions. He shows up here like it was nothing at all. Good strong arm, dude. Oh, wrong arm, Alvin. You're left-handed, remember? I don't know if you can see over the rushing D-line. And you got the wrong arm you're flexing, bro.
Dude, yes.
But in the meantime, quite an accomplishment. I don't know, maybe he's ambidextrous. Maybe he's going to roll out there and throw right-handed. Quite an accomplishment, though, Alvy. I know Steve Nash already told you how great you were, but man, was he ever right. Nash was out in front of it.
Alvin's
Nash
incredible. He deserves an incredible amount of praise.
Nash knew. Nash was out in front of it. And again, don't think that I'm on the other side and rooting against. All right? When Deion got to Colorado and was just absolutely on fire, I was hyping it. This is amazing. And it was. He took the worst program ever and made it totally viable. Next thing you know, you got G5s pulling into town. You got celebrities, A-listers on the sideline. It was amazing. And still, he's built a program there and did it really quickly. So it's not that I have it in for them. My point is, I don't think anybody has it in for Shedeur. You don't think that the league doesn't want Deion's kid to be a superstar? You don't think they can market that? You don't think they'd benefit from that? You don't think everything would be better with that? So why would they try and keep him down? They selected him. It makes no sense to me at all. But then again, the tinfoilers make no sense to me at all. Like I said, I used to be the biggest fan ever of a good conspiracy theory. This one's just not good at all.